Hello, and this is a book review. In this case is a course review of this course from the great courses, The Art of Conflict Management. I'll start with a quick review. Overall, I'll give this book 2 stars. I thought maybe even 2.5, but there is no 3.5 at 2.5, sorry. And a 3 does not deserve a 3. The professor is not straightforward. I have some notes on my notes. I'll talk a little bit more about it. But it's not very clear, hard to follow his thoughts, and it's a little messy. It's hard to really, his ideas are not straightforward enough, and it was hard for me to follow what exactly he wants. And in general, I didn't found a great deal of new knowledge from this book. So probably a discourse. So again, I'll stay with a 2. Let's see the notes. The first one is, perception is often the cause of a conflict in which both sides have different perception on the same thing. I have 2 little spelling issue here. But perception is sometimes this is the main cause of conflict, because on the same thing, some people have different perceptions. So this is one of the ways we can solve this conflict sometimes, is by understanding those differences. Reporting or owning an emotion is a good strategy to solve a conflict, since you're not blaming the other side. So this is the idea of owning the emotion in psychology, but in conflict is a good strategy because you're not blaming the other side. Many times we blame the other side for whatever happened, and that's sometimes causes conflict. But if you own it, you don't blame the other side. We should try not to fall into the feedback loop of anger. If one side raises anger level, we should strive to stay and not follow. This is what usually happens. One side go a little bit up, and then we go, and let's go up and up and up and up. So it's like kind of a reinforcing loop. And what we should try to do is to not fall into that loop. And if one side raises the anger levels, we should not follow. Of course, it's not easy, but we should pay attention. In a conflict, we need to ask ourselves, what's the power of the leverage the person has and what we have? That's similar to negotiation. We need to ask ourselves, what is the leverage that we have and the other person has? Because that would help us to solve some of the conflicts, because we're understanding what the other person wants and what we want. So that helps many times to solve conflicts. There are a few strategies people use when conflict is presented to them. Turning away, that's understanding. Turning towards, that's understanding. Turning away, it's avoiding. And turning against, it's attacking. So that's the main strategies when there is conflict. Turning some people's understanding to try to see what's going on. Some people are avoid a problem, so kind of sweeping under the rug, and some people are attacking some as a response. Focus on the problem, not the person, to avoid conflict. So this is kind of like, do not personalize and focus on the problem, not the person. So many times we attack the person rather than the problem, which usually just reinforces the conflict. The rule of reciprocity refers to who share information that is often required in order to maintain equal power, since more information tends to lead to more power. This idea is that if someone share valuable or potential harmful information, you should do the same, since they gave you more power. So you should reciprocate. That's the idea of the rule of reciprocity. Can say it right. And just to reciprocate, give the other side also some kind of vulnerability of yours. So both sides has a little bit of power. So it's like kind of an equal. Side note, how to follow the professor. His ideas are not direct. So that's what I spoke a little bit before. That's about the book. Hard to follow him. And he's kind of like going around and around sometimes, stopping in the middle. He's not clear enough. I like straightforward thoughts. And he's going a little bit back and forth. And it was a little hard to follow. When managers fail to assign roles, unnecessary conflict might occur. So this is what happens when managers fail to assign roles. That happens in many places. I work in many places. That happens too when they don't assign roles. No one knows what's going on and what's my job and what's his job and what's their job. And that's cause conflict. When a conflict presents itself, don't sweep it under the rug. Confronted sooner rather than later. See, another spelling problems, but who cares? And so, if there is conflict, we tend to avoid sometimes because it will fix itself. I guess sometimes it might, but it's better as a strategy to not sweep it under the rug and confront it sooner rather than later. I think that's a good advice. We teach our children more when we not intending than we intend to do so. Conflict is definitely one of those. People think, the way we teach our children is only consciously or deliberate thought, teachings. But what actually is going on is they see us and they see their parents, and this is how they learn. All the time. It's not only when you intend or deliberately trying to teach them something. This is not when they learn, and conflict is one of them. You most likely not trying to teach them something about conflict, but they learn, and we need to be more conscious of that. So that was the last one, and again, this course, not highly recommending this. I thought it will be better, sounds better, and could be restructured definitely in some better way. Should put more thoughts into like the structure of the book. Overall, and that's I said like about 2, I would maybe 2.5, but there isn't. And that's it. Thank you.